In 1916, this country was handed over to the Dannan after a bloody revolution, which saw the sacrifice to Ishtar outside the 1916 uprising outside the GPO. The land was given to the Thurs and the affiliates of the Thurs. To this day, the descendants of those people are the biggest, among some of the biggest scroungers in Europe, receiving annually up to 5 million before they see the farmers' markets or the value of their land from the EU. While the rest of us, while we receive the homeless, we receive thousands and thousands of more immigrants every year. None of the migrants into this country will be sent to live on the farmers' land, and steadily the scrounging increases. The bank accounts get bigger. The greed is the greed is only going to get bigger, and the rest of us suffer at the hands of the Dannan apartheid government. We don't receive any. If we do receive a payment, you get stopped by guards on the street, and they say you're a scrounger, you're on the labour. But I've never heard of the guards stopping a farmer and saying you're a scrounger, you're receiving billions. You lot are receiving billions in grants from the EU. That could be given to the Irish military to shore up our defences in an increasingly uncertain time. With talk of wars everywhere, and giving more to the haves and taking more from the have-nots. None of them are conscripted into the army to go and fight for their lavish lifestyle. No, they all have a couple of jobs on the go. They're always making money here and there. That's just what they get before they even go to the farmers' market. And what do we get? That's not including the value of the land or the property. And what do we get? Abuse, indifference and intolerance at the hands of the pampered privileged few who owned probably 10% of this 10% of the population of this island own all the land on this island. And the bit of land that we did have to mess around with, there was a couple of fields up near our estates. They've built factories on that. If we go into central Dublin, there used to be a bit of waste ground down the quays and all for the people in the flats to play around on, but that's all gone now. That's all been given to multinationals and conglomerates, and now we're just caged in. And they caged us all in and then pumped us full of pharmaceutical poisons, Zimmerfanes, Tranex and all of that, which are produced in here in Ireland. That was the alchemy that comes out of Ireland makes Ireland one of the wealthiest nations on the face of the earth. But you'd never think it by speaking to the homeless. There's loads of hidden homeless in tents, all scattered all around the country in little bits of land that eventually they get moved. But you would never see that because you live in opulence in your farms and your farmhouses with your EU subsidies and your grants. This is an apartheid regime. This is an apartheid witch covenant, as a matter of fact, and it's propagated from Leinster House. Well, not actually from Leinster House. As a matter of fact, it's propagated from across the road from Leinster House in the Masonic Lodge. The Masons run this country with the Pope and his bishops. The Pope runs all. See, Masons and the Pope go hand in hand because the Pope and the bishops, they run all the temples, and temples are all built by Masons. So that's a well-oiled machine, constantly backhanding millions to people that already have millions and millions and millions, and hundreds of thousands of people that already have hundreds and hundreds of thousands, while slowly but surely taking piece by piece any remnants of freedom or land that certain families have in this land, in this apartheid regime. But it's so very well hid because in order to see how they're so good at concealing it, you have to see that the Dannan are by far the slipperiest, slimiest, two-faced serpent race on the face of this earth. They are snakes. if you look at the propaganda, the Dannan propaganda, it's called the Book of Invasions. It tells you how sneaky and backstabbing the Dannan are. No matter how fair you are with them, they'll always use witchcraft on you. They're still here, they never went away. Don't believe the Dan came here. This is the story. The Dan came here on ships in clouds. I've only ever heard of some ships in clouds called UFOs. This is their own mythology, and this is the mythology of the other tribes that live here, telling of how the Dan came to live in Ireland and what they done when they got here, and the treachery. They came in ships. They never burnt them because there's loads of UFO sightings around. It's ships in clouds and stuff like that. They're actually descendants of the hybrids. They are actually a hybrid. They're mixed in with the hybrids now, because the Dan tribe were originally a Hebrew tribe, and he mixed in with the hybrids and took up paganism. So that God doesn't like them. They're not mentioned in Revelations. So they always conjure up spells and black magic. They have the ability to control the weather. That's the thing. They have the ability to control the weather. And in ancient times, people that had the ability to control the weather were worshipped as gods. Now, the Dannan haven't changed their spots. They've just changed the furniture. To see a modern day man, well, form of a man, worshipped as a god, all you have to do is talk to a Catholic priest. I don't know on the extent that they used to be. Still, if you call him Father, you're calling him God, because the Most High God is called the Father. And Jesus says, call none but Father in heaven, no man the Father. So when you say the Our Father prayer, if you're a Christian, and then you go and call a priest Father, you're calling him God. That's all there is to it. They've programmed you to do it, you're still doing it now. So their God men are still here. And allegedly, these ships have been sighted, similar to fitting the description of the Dan ships, have been sighted by the American government and American pilots, and they fly along ley lines where churches are built. On top of the churches is an energy force, because when you go into a church you give off an energy. It's an electromagnetic field, and much like a stone skipping across the top of the water, when you throw a stone and it skips across the water, the Dan and the ships travel along these lines, along them energies, and they skip along a really super. So when the Dan came here, the other tribe that were here didn't even know they were here, because they came under the cover of a cloud. So the whole country didn't even know they were here. That's how sneaky they are. But eventually they were defeated for a time in a battle, or a couple of battles. They haven't been totally defeated. As a matter of fact, they're ruling over us now. They haven't been totally defeated, but soon will be. Hallelujah. They were alleged to have went into the mountains. Now I suspect these mountains are surrounded by the Dan. And all when the 1916 revolution happened, all of the land around these mountains was given to loyal the Dannan apartheid government operatives, part of the regime. So if in actuality, if these craft still do exist, which is a multitude of evidence pointing to the fact that they do, no one would see it, because all the fields around and all the mountains are owned by the Dannan, and they receive large subsidies from the EU, numbering millions and hundreds of thousands over the decades, definitely millions. And that land is still all that land that was given out still remains in the hands of the blue shirts. The blue shirts worship a master race of giants. The blue shirts run this country. And then you have the brown shirts as well. Basically, they worship the master race. They were 100% with Hitler, and Hitler was into all of this shit, flying machines and all. They're still about. They class them as the God men. Hitler knows they class themselves as the God men, because this is the era, and they're the Aryans. So he might have been a bit of a distraction, but they still are into all the occult magic and shit that goes on, black magic. As a matter of fact, they send you a spell every time they send you a letter. That's why it's called spelling, and when you open the letter, you accept the spell. That's why a lot of people are sending a back return to sender. I do not recognise you. I do not understand your intent. I do not understand what's